You know, every now and then something comes across my desk that simply changes my perception of things. Sometimes it's as simple as what a power pack can do when you find yourself in the field and your phone is dying. It's suddenly one of the most useful things you never thought you would need. See, if somebody had asked me before I had gotten the SK621 in about my thoughts on a 60% keyboard, I would have told you that they were pretty much pointless. But after a couple of months of constant use, maybe not so much. So what is the Cooler Master SK621? Long and short, it's a hybrid connectivity 60% version of the SK650 that we took a look at recently. A slim, small, and nearly pocketable keyboard that connects via either removable USB Type-C cable or through Bluetooth to a myriad of devices from phones, tablets, and laptops, making a remote workstation very appealing. So let's start with the form factor, since I feel like it might be the elephant in the room. 60% design results in a keyboard being shrunk down to essentially just the tilde key to the bottom right control key, but still retaining most functionality of a 10 keyless. This means the F keys are needing to use a function key combination for them to work. So F1 through F11 and F12, you're going to have to hit the Cooler Master key plus one of the number keys for it to work. The same goes for the print screen to page down block of keys. The arrow keys are squeezed into the bottom right so that you still have them, but they're really cramped in there. Basically, think of it as a beefed up laptop keyboard so your fingers get to spread out a bit more. The size is interesting for sure. It makes for a very portable keyboard that I take with me to all out of office meetings for note taking and email responses instead of just using the built-in laptop keyboard, because I really just don't like those. So when you pair it with a Bluetooth mouse, it means that one, I don't have any dongles to hook up, and I can pretty much set up shop anywhere that I have a surface large enough to do so. The board is topped by an aluminum plate just like the SK650, but its reduced size makes for the overall structure to be much more rigid than the SK650, meaning it feels much more sturdy and less likely to flex. The back is still plastic, and even though this one is missing the adjustable heights, I'm not really as concerned about that since this is intended to be taken off your desk and used pretty portable. And now you don't have to worry about those things breaking off while you're moving about. So let's talk about switches in this thing. This features the same Cherry MX low profile red switches that are in the SK650, which have a nice linear path and don't have too much resistance on them, making long typing sessions pretty comfortable. But for me personally, I prefer at least a little tactile feedback, something like the Browns deliver, rather than a straight linear switch. That's a personal preference. Keystrokes are consistent, with the keyboard never feeling or sounding hollow or springy, and are nice and quiet for a low noise office environment. Let's take a quick listen here and see how it sounds. And this is a sound test of the SK621 Super Tiny keyboard. Now the keycaps, well, they're slim and contoured, but I just don't like them. Just like with the SK650, they're boxy, and I kept, well, tripping over the edges during rigorous typing sessions. While it was brutal at first, with me not being able to finish a single sentence without multiple errors, I did, however, get the hang of it pretty quickly after a few sessions and a slight adjustment to my typing style. I found myself going through write-ups and work, well, with ease. But it's not going to be a keycap for everyone, and swapping keycaps on this board results in losing visuals cues for, well, all the shortcuts which are going to be needed for this form factor board to really be a viable solution for work. What about gaming? Gaming on this has been great, especially for people like me who tend not to move their hands off the WAS section during a session. I did, however, find things like shadow play to be a bit cumbersome, since you have to do the additional function key plus another button to act as one of the F keys. But I mean, to be quite honest, you can reprogram those keys if you want to, or, well, yeah, you can just reprogram them. It's not that big of a deal. So what kind of keyboard would this be without RGB? And, well, just like the SK650, it's there and has a nice ring around the sides. Yeah, I really like that. It's kind of nice. Controlling the lighting itself is fairly simple through software interface, or can be controlled through the keyboard itself. Just make sure that you have a manual close by because the compounded buttons get pretty complicated. So I'm sure you guys are all wondering if it's wireless and it has RGB, well, how does that affect battery life? Well, battery life with RGB on is rated about 14-hour lifespan, but you turn it off for those dark theme fans out there and you're looking for somewhere around 4 months of a charge according to Cooler Master. I have not been able to test that claim, but the 14 hours with the RGB on is pretty close to what I've been experiencing so far. So at $120, is it worth it? Well, sure, if you want a wireless capable 60% keyboard, and the answer is absolutely yes. If you don't care about the wireless or the RGB, you still have a Cherry MX low profile packing keyboard that is really nice. It takes up very little space on your desk, and well, that's still a win. The only drawback for this board that I can give it really is the key design, the keycap design. I'm not a fan whatsoever of those. But if you can get used to them, you're in for a real treat. So let us know what you think about these small form factor keyboards. Are they something interesting to you, or are they just simply too small? I've moved to a 10 keyless design myself and don't feel like I've left much off the table when I use the SK621 exclusively at my workstation. Although, it is a little bit complicated whenever you're using Shadow Play or any type of software like that where you need your F keys. Something to think about. Let us know what you think. This has been Keith with WCCF Tech TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that we don't miss you in the next one.